Welcome back. With me today is an instructor with the Emeritus Institute. I'd like to welcome Sandra Johnson, and great to have you on your first time, am I right?
Absolutely, and thank you for being here. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, this is great. We love getting all the instructors on as much as we can because we learn about them, we learn about their different classes that are available, and it's wonderful. So tell me about yourself. We should mention that you teach two classes, wearable art and clothing construction. But let's first get into your background and how did you get to here?
Okay, so originally I started, I'm a local girl, grew up in Orange, went to high school, El Medina High School, then I went off to Arizona State where I received a Bachelor of Science in Liberal Arts with a textile major, and that afforded me the opportunity to come back to Orange County and work in the retail industry and the fashion industry.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so at the same time, my original home economics teacher from 7th grade asked me and approached me to teach classes, and so I started teaching through the cities. After that, several years after that, then I started teaching for the junior college systems, which is the Emeritus older adult programs. So I started that 21 years ago, part-time while I was working a full-time job. Henceforth, jump forward to today, I now teach for Santiago Canyon College, North Orange County, and now I'll be teaching for Saddleback.
So are you also, beyond an instructor, a seamstress as well?
So I call myself a textile artist.
Okay.
So I create different projects all dealing with textile. So that's the medium I prefer to work with.
All right, so when we look at your two here, wearable art,
yes,
would that mean like say the dress you're wearing?
Yes, so wearable art is any type of clothing that you make it your own.
Okay.
So if you took that jacket and you said, you know what, I'm gonna put some patches on it, or I'm gonna take one sleeve off and add another fabric onto it, that would be wearable art.
Okay, that makes sense. And kind of reminds me of last year we were back in Dollywood, and Dollywood has that, she has that famous song, Coat of Many Colors.
Yes.
And you can buy them there.
Absolutely, yes.
But that kind of reminds me of that.
Exactly, so I try to inspire my students to be who they want to be. So for myself, I've used quilts that are a little older and some modern quilts where I've taken them and made them into clothing. So I have a pair of pants from a vintage quilt, I have a blazer, I have a bomber jacket. I've even made a wraparound skirt lately from a quilt top that I started to quilt but really didn't feel that I wanted to go all the way to the completion of a quilt. So I turned it into a wraparound skirt. So those are just things that have inspired me. I want to really have my students be inspired by whatever they have in their homes and their resources. And
again, this goes back to kind of what I just said. There was a time when there was a need for this. You didn't throw things away if it could be reused.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk first about the wearable art.
Okay.
What are you instructing in there, and do people come in there saying, well, do I need to know how to sew or use a sewing machine or a quilt? Or
so with my wearable art, you can come in fresh and know nothing. I've found that it's more about what you have within yourself, how successful you will be. So for instance, everybody has a point that they start at. Where you end up, it's all up to you. So there is no prerequisites. You can come blind, but you can also come where you've sewn in the past and maybe haven't sewn for years, or you've sewn continuously and you just want to know a little more.
Okay. So I would think that, is it a possibility that someone comes in there like me who can't sew at all, but maybe you have an old jacket and you can use the fabric glue or whatever to come up with something?
So absolutely. So you could just be inspired to want to be around creative people and think, hey, I have no idea what I want to create. We just come on in, we'll show you the basics, because really it's about within you.
Right.
And then how you want to get there is my job. So then it's my job for you to tell me, after you tell me what you want to do, then I'm going to break it down and explain it to you how you can get there. Along with patterns. I mean, there's tools that we use.
Well, your other class is clothing construction. Now that would be a little bit more, I would think, involved. Like, how is this jacket constructed? Right?
So clothing construction has come a long way, in my opinion. In the past, it was very tailored, it was very finite. Today, we have patterns generally that you can put together within 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours. But we still have the old terminology, the old verbiage, which I hope that I'm able to explain to my students. When it says this, it means this. So that's where I break it down.
Okay.
It's kind of like learning the language of a computer.
Yeah.
We all have computers and we're all like, why doesn't this work for me? Because we haven't learned the language.
Okay.
So what we do in that class is we go over vocabulary, we go over processes. I'm a process girl. So I'm going to tell you the process is, the pattern says this is the process, but let me explain the why behind that process.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And that's something like my mother-in-law does. She learned how to be a seamstress years ago and, can sew anything.
Correct, exactly.
But it's always that and
Exactly.
the right tool for the right job. And
Right.
that's really interesting. Is that why, too, you said things aren't as tailored as what they used to be? You go to buy, I'm always like, say, a size large for this, and
Right.
who knows what it's going to be.
So
Clothes aren't, when you buy clothes today, sizes don't make any sense at all.
And so, yes, because every designer has their fit or
Yeah.
their fit model or
Yeah.
their what they think a size 12 will be within range. So when I say it's not as tailored, what I mean is they've actually taken that dart and eased it out.
Okay.
That's a clothing construction
Right, no, I
term.
know- I kinda
so
know
it's
what you
still
mean,
fitted.
yes.
It
Right.
just doesn't have that dart. They've made it where it's not so intricate to make a jacket or to
Okay.
make a skirt, but you're still going to get that fit.
Yeah, yeah. So these classes, are they ongoing right now, or do they start again in the fall?
So they start in August, the week
great.
of August
So keep
19th.
up time.
So that's when they start. You have plenty of time. And then they end around December, I think the week of the 12th. So depending on when the class hits, if it's a Monday class, if it's a Tuesday, whatever, that's kind of the time frame. But they are open-ended. So let's just say you were planning a trip and you're like, oh, I'm not going to make that first class, or I'm not going to be able to go all throughout the whole term.
Right.
It's okay. You can drop in. You can register and drop in when you're available.
Okay, one other thing I want to ask here, because I don't see it on the notes. Many times with these artistic kind of classes, there's a materials fee. Is there for this?
I believe there's a small materials
Okay.
fee. I think just for the use of the materials that are
Okay.
in the room, but it's very small.
Okay, I just know a lot of the artistic type classes,
Correct.
there's something. But other than that, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yes, and so that's another
Yeah.
thing. If you know how to sew and you already know how to do everything perfectly, but you're all alone,
Yeah.
this is the class to come
Right.
to. Not only do we sew, we talk about current affairs, we have a great time, it's a great time to bond, it's a great time to just have great energy in a room. So just because you know how to sew already, don't let that stop you. It's not just about sewing, it's about having friends, building relationships, and being in a great environment.
All right. Well, Sandra, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
And I will tell you these classes that are coming up. The wearable art are on Mondays from 9 until noon at, this is at the Belmont Village Senior Living in Aliso Viejo. So
Correct.
I want to let you know that it's off our property here. The other one, clothing construction, is also on Mondays. That's 1 to about almost 4 o'clock, and that will be at Clubhouse 4.
Thank
So
you.
that way. Nice to meet you. You take
Great.
care. We'll be right back.